Welcome back and a happy new year. Today we're going to start talking about a completely different subject. And I want to start by saying something very clearly. I was a Democrat most of my life, a centrist, quite involved, but not on the left. I was involved in politics both locally and a little bit nationally, but never in the progressive wing. I am now an independent, as there is just too much I cannot live with within the party. And I'm certainly not going to come to you with a leftist political bent, as you will see. I am not a doctor. I'm not a professional researcher. I'm not an expert in pediatric medicine or psychology. I'm an older gay man who started doing deep dives into this subject because something about it didn't sit right with me. And the more I learned, the more disturbed I became. I grew up gay in a time when nothing was discussed. There were no school lessons, no pride assemblies, no questionnaires, no pronoun charts, no adults asking me to define myself before I even understood myself, and sure as hell, no teacher or anyone for that matter would ever ask you if you were gay. Believe me, they did not want to hear the answer. And even without all of that, growing up gay was very hard. It meant keeping a secret from everyone in your life. It meant that even trying to say anything to your best friend might cost you a friend or even expose you to the world. It meant navigating confusion all by yourself. It meant getting through middle school and high school, going through adolescence while feeling different in a straight world. It meant not knowing if your secret ever came out, would your family still love you, or would they throw you out? That alone was stressful enough. Just managing my own thoughts, fears, and emotions. Around 2017, I started to hear about the pronoun nonsense. I saw that children are being exposed to now, and I remember thinking to myself, oh my God, what is going on here? These kids aren't just dealing with normal adolescent confusion anymore. They're being bombarded and layered with complex adult concepts about identity, labels, sex, and self-definition. All of this way before they are emotionally or cognitively prepared to handle any of it. I thought back to my own childhood and asked myself, how much harder would that have been if the adults had added even more pressure? I thought to myself that growing up gay, even now, is still really hard. I can't imagine what extra stress this must be adding to these young kids' gay lives. Children already struggle with fitting in. They already deal with social pressure, fear of being different, and the need to belong. That's what being an adolescent in high school is, in junior high. Now schools are layering on constant discussions about identity, questionnaires asking deeply personal questions, pronoun rules that are enforced and weaponized and even legalized. The idea that not knowing who you are is somehow a problem that needs to be solved, not something that you can grow into naturally as a kid. This stopped looking like support and started looking a lot like a lot of pressure, a lot of pressure. A few months ago, I ran into this tweet and I can't believe what I saw here. I was just flabbergasted. And it turns out this tweet ended up getting reported all over the world on the news. But I didn't know that at the time. I just ran into it and saw this. And you're not going to believe this either. This is an 11-year-old boy and his father driving.
Gender identity and sexual orientation.
Huh.
What is your gender identity? You can choose more than one.
Okay. You want to read them off?
There's too many.
How many should there be?
Not two. Girl or woman.
Okay.
Boy or man.
Okay, which one do you identify with? Which
I
one
identify
are
as
you?
a man.
Yeah, that's right. This is not necessarily identify, but what are you?
Oh, I'm a boy.
Very good.
Demi-girl or demi-boy.
What the hell is that?
Non-binary. Gender fluid.
No, I don't know.
Gender queer.
Do you know what those are?
I don't want to know
Okay,
what
good.
these are.
Good answer.
Questioning agender or no gender?
That, my friends, came as a survey from his school that was going to be handed to the kids in school, and the father found out and told the school, "Do not hand this kid to my kid," and he had it emailed to him, and then decided to show it to his kid anyway. But I mean, that's something that the school was just handing out to the kids. I mean, these kids are under a lot of pressure, and it's not just pressure from one place. I'm talking about organized pressure coming from more than one direction, more than one institution, and more than one type of interest group. It's not limited to schools. It's not limited to activism. And it's certainly not limited to parents trying to do the right thing. There are medical interests, educational policies, advocacy groups, and cultural forces all pushing in the same direction. And when that happens, we have to ask ourselves a very basic question. Why so much pressure? Why such an enormous effort to sell this to children? Sell this to parents, sell this to teachers, and to you and me and the public. Because when something truly benefits children, it shouldn't need to be marketed this aggressively. It's just insane. This second clip I want to show you is of a woman who used to work in a gender clinic for a number of years and then became a well-known whistleblower about the same clinic that she worked in, and now goes around talking about what really happens in the industry. And I'm going to tell you up front, this is extremely, extremely disturbing, and you're only going to hear about 30 seconds of this.
Transitioning nearly 1,500 unique patients who ranged in age from 3 to 26 over almost 5 years. I was once a true believer in pediatric gender medicine. Now I understand I participated in an industry that was based on fraud, deception, and in layman's terms, we were running a racket. Patients with significant comorbidities were treated using unethical and deceptive informed consent practices. They were never properly assessed, informed of their condition, or given a diagnosis. A diagnosis itself is the first required step for any consent to be valid and not fraudulent. These were also vulnerable patients who required specific, special safeguards.
Unbelievable. They weren't even given diagnosis. And this is something I have found out throughout this, and we'll discuss this in other videos, that actually getting the diagnosis from a psychologist is almost secondary and just one of the boxes that they check to make sure that they have the package together to go forward. Sort of like when you do a mortgage for your house and you check off the box that you have the credit report, that type of thing, that it's just sort of an afterthought. When I started seeing actual questionnaires given to kids and lessons being taught in school, something clicked for me. This is no longer about kindness or tolerance. This is ideology. And it's an ideology that has gone far past any sense of normalcy or restraint, and quite frankly, decency, the way children are being used. To think it is acceptable to pressure children with concepts this complex at ages where they are still learning how to regulate their emotions is, in my view, immoral. Forget politics for a moment. Forget labels. How can anyone responsible for children believe it's appropriate to introduce all this to kids starting at 5 years old? And that's what they do. They start introducing this stuff in kindergarten and first grade. Way, way before they've even gone through puberty. Childhood confusion does not require ideological answers. It requires safety, time, and emotional space. At the same time, this issue doesn't arise in a vacuum. We're now seeing federal pressure finally, policy shifts, and funding fights, including President Trump and RFK Jr.'s directive right before Christmas, where any hospital that continues to offer pediatric gender-affirming care, including puberty blockers, hormone therapy, or surgery, face a total loss of all Medicare and Medicaid funding. This is just starting. this I think was going into effect January 1st. And you saw the Democrats starting to come out screaming about this hard. And if you just go on YouTube, you can find any number of videos of the Democrats telling you, and even state AGs, which I just find horrifying, telling you why they're suing against this and how all this trans care is great for kids. The Democrats have come out hard against this and are trying to block Trump. I think that the Democrats are doing is extremely misguided. And we will discuss this in another video for sure. Here's a perfect example of the face of the problem that we're facing right now.
Zeron, congratulations on starting your transition.
Thank you very much.
What would you like to say to trans kids out there who might be starting their transition?
Well, while these may be different transitions, we're going to make this a city that doesn't just protect trans kids, but also celebrates and cherishes them.
And we are wishing everyone who wants to transition a smooth enough and exciting transition to be just like Zeron, I guess. I don't know.
They want transgender for everybody transgender.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty disgusting. Things won't shut down overnight, but it tells you something important. There's a serious fight happening, and it's happening because this went too far. If this were harmless, none of this pushback would exist. Parents are caught in the middle of this. Most parents act out of love. They trust schools. They trust doctors. They assume that they are getting full balanced information, which they are not, but many are not. They're often given partial information, framed in ways that downplays risk and exaggerates certainty. And they're asked to make decisions while being told hesitation itself is harmful. They are not making informed decisions. This is not informed consent. That's emotional leverage. That's why I'm here. Not because I hate anybody, because I don't, not because I'm afraid of difference or of change, certainly not because I'm older and it's younger people. It's but because I remember what it's like to be a confused kid, and I can see how much harder it makes this. And this is just the introduction to this topic as far as I'm concerned. There's far too much here for one video or even two or even three. We will be exploring how childhood confusion became medicalized, how school boards became ideological battlegrounds, how parents were sidelined, how incentives, cultural, political, and financial distorted judgment. You don't need a medical degree to see something is wrong. One last thing before I end this video. This won't be the only topic I talk about. As I have been, I'm going to continue calling out the right-wing influencers who gaslight the public, such as Candace and Tucker, who misrepresent reality and lie with confidence while causing real damage to our public square, especially allowing anti-Semitism to spread like wildfire instead of trying to contain it, as Ben Shapiro keeps screaming about. Additionally, this is a life-changing election year. The political landscape in this country has shifted in ways we've never seen before, with ideas that used to be fringe now holding real institutional power. At the same time, we're watching old political forces weaken, new ones rise, and long-standing assumptions break down. How all that intersects, cultural, ideology, media, and power affects everything going forward. So this channel will cover more than one issue, but I promise you it'll always be grounded in the same principles: honesty, restraint, and protecting the most vulnerable from ideological pressure. This is just the beginning, so join me on this important journey in this new year, as what we are discussing is so important. I ask you to please like and subscribe to the channel. It makes such a huge difference in how much YouTube shows my videos to new people. And last month, I did gain quite a new number of viewers, which I really appreciate and thank you. Lastly, I want to mention something I've been thinking about but haven't decided on. I'm thinking about forming a nonprofit whose goals would be to get you, the public, involved in this fight to protect our kids. There are so many different ways that can go. I thought I would plant the seed as I develop this. I will come back to you about interest in ideas. Before I give you a happy new year, I want to mention one more thing. Please check out my X if you're on X, And it is simply at thinking clearly, except for the second L, and clearly is a number 1. So it's just as you would spell it, except for number 1 in place of the L and the second right before the Y. I'm on there a lot, and you'll see a lot of postings about these various topics because I'm fighting the same topics there that I'm talking to you about here. And I think you will find it of interest. Have a great, happy, and a healthy new year. Thank you for watching, and look for my next video. Meanwhile, take a look at the 2 videos above here. Thanks. I already said that.